But it is now time to have our patron Sam call in. And if you want to be like Sam, you can check us out on patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcasts. These are all the people who support us, who make sure that we can keep doing what we're doing and we can continue to add content to our shows.
They keep the lights on, Dave.
They really do.
I love to say it.
100%. Like, that's not even like a joke. That's just honesty.
They keep the lights on.
Should I turn the lights off right now?
Yeah.
Show what it would be like?
Show them what it would be like? Yep.
Yeah, Rick, you might want to flip this.
Yeah.
So, this is what the patrons do. And this would be like if it were.
Oh man, that's like black.
So, like, with patrons? Without
just
patrons.
turn one of them on, like half of our patrons.
That's like a sad
Yeah,
face.
see,
So, like, this is-
it's like it's depressing still.
Yeah,
It's
weird.
we're all sad here.
But like,
then-
also thank you, patrons.
Oh, our patrons.
So,
Patrons make it
there
like
you go.
better.
And Sam was emailed, so
I am
he'll be calling
totally
soon.
leaving that in for the YouTube clips.
Let me throw these guys back up too. Shout out Alexis. That's our Suns fan.
Yep.
Bilal
Yep.
just called in last week. He's our Lonzo Ball hookup. He's our Ball family expert.
Insider.
Batalio's our guy that's big Discord guy.
Braden, I'm hoping I'm saying it right. Braden calling it, always on the watch-alongs from Australia.
I wish I could be in on those.
He is ton of fun.
Charlie's our UK bud. We got Edwin.
He's
He's
easy.
a new guy, right?
No, Edwin's easy.
Oh, easy. Okay.
Yeah.
He's Kings.
He-
The Knicks.
And then
Knicks.
Eric,
Say,
easy
he
wins.
is
Next.
Our
our next guy.
Eric's the new guy then, right?
Yes.
Or is Sean the new guy?
Eric and Henry, I think, are new.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out Sean as well. We got
How do you think of Sean's spelling, though? He doesn't spell it like you.
Some people spell it that way. Shout out Hubertus. Always, I remember when
From
that name,
Germany.
Yeah, that name first popped up, and I was like, I've never seen that name before.
Yeah.
Jake, obviously.
He's
I mean,
okay.
Honestly, like no. John, our guy,
Sean
giving us
liked
lessons,
Jake.
giving us lessons in '90s
The history of
Pittsburgh ball.
basketball. It's a different perspective, but good Lord, is it awesome to hear.
Patrick, our Ryan Pace impersonator.
Check out
Sophie,
last week's show.
John also sent his address in, so we could just send
Did
him.
he? Okay.
Send him a
Yeah.
shirt.
Yep.
Soapy, he's always got great stuff. in
Dude, he
Discord.
was at a Pistons game
on Wednesday.
prior to the watch along, which was great because he came in there just full of hope because his Pistons beat the Kings, blew them out, and then the watch along happened, and there's a little bit of shit talking in there. But yeah, no, I love it, and that's the cool thing is like if you are a patron, you can check us out weekly watch alongs for big games, big events. It's just a hangout session for the most part, shooting the shit. Let's move into our final topic of the day. We are joined by Sam, our patron. Sam, the Chicago Bears have a big decision moving forward this offseason. They don't have a first-round draft pick, but they do have a couple twos. They got some later on in this draft, and there's a lot of positions to address. Now, I want to throw it directly to you. I want to start this with the draft, and then we'll move to free agency. So during the draft, where should the Bears focus? Are there any players who stand out or any positions that you think that they need to attack early in that second round?
Well, this is sort of an insane thought, but would you find it extremely crazy if they used their two second-rounders on, like, the two best available tight ends possible?
Interesting. And is that because you think that, A, all of our tight ends have been hurt for last year, whatever, or B, that you think that a double tight end offense would be successful in Chicago with Mitch Trubisky or Matt Nagy's scheming? Like, what's pointing you in that direction?
I don't know. The thing as far as, like, Nagy's overall offensive scheme, it's like he needs those, like, particular tight ends,
Mm-hmm.
like how Kansas City's been operating. So it's like if he doesn't have those, like, couple key tight ends, like, the entire system's to complete crappers, and, well, we've seen what happened the past year.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be hard to find someone of the caliber of like a Travis Kelce, who is so dangerous in that Kansas City offense. But Sean, do you think that there's any tight ends early second round that can come in and be good offensive threats? I'm not super concerned about blocking skill necessarily, but more of that wide receiver hybrid tight end.
Well, one thing I do want to say is, I mean, tight ends are a pick that you can hit later on. Gronk was a second-round pick. Kelsey was a third-round pick. George Kittle was a fifth-round pick.
Love Kittle.
Adam Shaheen, second-round pick. Hits all over the place. But, yeah, I think that at least...
That hurts.
What? They could have had George Kittle. They did not. They could have had Evan Kamara. They do not. They could have hit on different spots. That's the best part of the draft is going back year after year.
I know, and that's
going
one of our favorite
after it
games.
and finding all those people that could have been. But not a ton of guys stick out to me. One guy that does is a 6'5" guy out of Missouri, Albert. I'm gonna butcher his name.
That's fine.
But he did play with Drew Lock and very succeeded with Drew Lock in 2018. Wasn't that great last year, just because he didn't have the caliber that was Drew Lock out there. But Albert Akua Bugnam.
Tight end out of Missouri.
Bugnam. He's a tight end out of Missouri. His name is Albert Akua Bugnam, I think. Could be. But I've looked into him a little bit. He's got a pretty decent 40. He's just big, and that's what I like. And he's also not from this like horrible school like wherever Adam Shaheen's from. He's from a decent program.
Mizzou, I think, lost to Wyoming this year.
Yeah,
so
but when he had an NFL type quarterback like Drew Lock, he was able to produce, and he was one of their most dangerous weapons back in 2018. So that's one guy that I do, at least if we're talking tight end position, he is a guy that is projected second to fourth round. So that is a guy that I think you could look out for in that range. But if we're talking second round picks, I don't hate the idea of doing two tight ends, but Trey Burton, if he's able to be healthy, I think they're still going to use him. And Trey Burton, what's up?
It's Okuwebunam.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Okay. It's way, not wa.
Okay. Okuwebunam.
Akuwebunam.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we're getting it right.
I wrote that article.
Or Albert O.
Or Albert O.
That's what he's referred to on campus.
We just call him Albert O. But yeah, I think at least, going after and getting a tight end second round, absolutely do not dislike that. But I do think Trey Burton, if he is healthy, they will use him. And I think Trey Burton is getting a lot of slack because he hasn't been healthy. But when he was healthy, he was a very usable piece in this offense in 2018. He picked up 21 first downs as a tight end in 2018. So he was a guy that could be used as a dangerous weapon. I don't dislike getting a tight end in the second round, but I think one of those picks in the second round has to be used on a quarterback. It won't happen, but I would like it, and I think that's something that they do need is going out and getting one of these players, whether it be a Fromm, whether it be an Eason, whether it be a Jalen Hurts, in the second round getting a quarterback prospect.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring up tight end. A couple days ago at the Senior Bowl, there was a quote from Daniel Greenberg at Shy Sports Updates saying, at Senior Bowl, tight end Adam Trotman told at Chase Goodbridge, which I don't even know, I'll be honest, that the Chicago Bears have shown strong interest in him. They're interested in me. They tell me they like what they see. And this is a guy who is out of Dayton. He's a tight end, physical football during the Senior Bowl practice, relying on his frame and toughness to finish catches. That was the quick little blurb from the Athletics' Dane Brugler. Interesting because literally the first post on Reddit I see about him is them comparing him size-wise to Adam Shaheen. Like, oh, another Adam from a small school, eh?
Well,
like,
6'6", 251, projected 40 time 4.71. He's projected in the third and fifth rounds. Last year, he had 7 receptions, 916 yards, 14 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's something at least a little bit intriguing. But again, I mean, Adam Shaheen was intriguing. That's why I was thinking at least Missouri, that's at least, that's a Power 5 school, not Dayton.
But to Adam's credit, he seems like a better route runner from what I'm reading. They're claiming that, where Sheen was just big and had potential, it was more of a raw prospect, that Adam...
Can I offer like a potential huge free agency target potentially?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, flip it up.
Eric Ebron.
Okay, Sam, tell me why Eric Ebron is the guy we should... I mean, if that's the case, like if we are locked in on Ebron, why is that?
The thing is, I've been sort of reading reports online, but apparently him and Mitch really became buddies at the last Pro Bowl, So
okay.
They seem pretty tight from what I've been seeing on social media and all that. But that basically, Indianapolis basically said thanks but no thanks as far as any type of extension with him. So he's like, yeah, I'm definitely gone from Indiana. And the other thing is, he's actually, he just thinks Mitch has had a down year, so he's sort of like, maybe I should take a little discount and maybe help out my buddy here, give him a really good target, considering. And the other thing is, we get to play the Detroit Lions twice every year. Maybe that's a good way I can send a middle finger to them, show them off what they missed off by.
A little bit of spicy revenge.
Originally.
Yeah, I like the thought there. Ricky, what do you think of Ebron being a main target in free agency?
For me, I look at it and the only reason I'm not gung ho about it is because I like some of these, like the tight end prospects. We don't have like a
Power ranking.
Hawkinson or a
Oh,
Noah Fant in this year's draft.
Yeah, the elites
But
up at the top.
Like a guy like Albert O, the Bears might have to reach on because no third rounder, no fourth rounder. So
Correct.
odds are, if you want him, you're going to have to take him in the second with your probably Oakland pick.
Which Ryan Piss? I just said Ryan Piss. Ryan Pace is already done going out and reaching for Adam Shaheen before. So reaching for a tight end isn't new.
Reaching's not hard in general for him.
Well, or the thing the Bears could do is they've got 5 picks in the 5 through 7 rounds. You could trade up, but I don't see that ammo without extras being included to be able to move up to the third. If I'm looking at free agency, though, and this is just me asking a question, wouldn't you want to go draft in the tight end and then say, hey, because we don't have a third and fourth, let's try another need we need is cornerback.
Yeah.
Maybe to also offset because you guys got, like, Prince is going to be a free agent after next year, and you've got guys in free agency. Some are a little bit older, but, like, Eli Apple's going to be a free agent, Jason Verrett, Ronald Darby, Chris Harris,
with
Logan
that,
Ryan.
Prince is $10 million. He's a name that could be moved. Him and Taylor Gabriel are like the 2 pieces that could be moved. I don't hate the Eric Ebron name. I just want to address that with what Sam threw out there. Don't hate the Eric Ebron name. Obviously, what we saw, what he was able to do with Andrew Luck, very promising after leaving Detroit. Biggest issue though with him is drops, and after this team led the league in drops this year, I don't know if he is the best name to bring in. But if this team is still having Trey Burton on the team, which is a possibility, it's also a possibility that he gets cut. There would be 7.5 of dead cap, but there is a potential out that they get out of this year. So it is possible that he isn't on this team this year. I do think that Ebron's a possibility. I just wonder, though, maybe a team does give him more money, and that's the biggest thing with the Bears this year is I don't know if they can really flex the free agent muscle on these guys. So if they are going to go get a free agent, I think they're going to have to make sure it's a true position of need. I think they probably examine if Trey Burton's fully healthy, and if he is, I think they keep him on the team and then go on fourth and then draft a tight end, whether it be with one of their second rounders or one of their late ones, or packaging and moving up. I do think corner's a possibility of them addressing, but they might free up $10 million if they move away from Prince Amukamara, which is a possibility, and then they could go address that in the free agency market. But I think the biggest bulk of the money that is going to be spent this year is going to be at the linebacker position, whether it be re-signing Danny Trevathan or whether that be signing Nick Kwiatkowski, because bringing one of those back is like bringing a free agent in, because those guys are going to be free agents. You're going to have to go out and make sure that they come back to your team, and that money will have to be spent there. And I think you have $20 million in cap room, and I think Kwiatkowski or Trevathan is more of a need, making sure one of those guys is back on this team rather than a cornerback, rather than a tight end, because we saw decent performance out of when Prince Amukamara was down. We saw decent performance from Kevin Tolliver, so I don't think it would be out of the question that they keep Kevin Tolliver and make him the number 2 corner. So it's up in the air there, but tight end is position of need. Cornerback's a position of need. Middle linebacker's a position of need for sure.
I want to throw out there the Bears right now only have $14.9 million in cap space. They are the 27th team.
Yeah.
When one being the most room, that's the Colts.
So
the Bears are 27th. The Saints, Falcons, Steelers, Jaguars, and my Vikings are the only teams with low caps, with less, and the Vikings are dead last with negative $9 million.
Yeah. Sam.
We over.
Sean tossed out the question of bringing back one of those 2 linebackers in free agency needs to be a priority for the Bears. Which one would you go with? Would you go with the older Dan Trevathan, or would you go with Kwiatkowski, who's played good in minutes? And I'm known as a hater on him, I'll be honest. He's not someone who I loved initially. I still don't love him now. Which one would you roll with going forward? Which one would you offer the money to?
Well, to be honest, it's like I think I would have to automatically go Kowalski, because the dude just, you just have to go younger, frankly, in this league, because, Danny's already had a couple major injuries now, so it's like, you don't know how he's going to come back from this elbow thing, because that thing looked pretty nasty when it got twisted from when I saw.
Yeah, that was
game.
not a great injury to
Got
see.
hurt, frankly, So it's like.
All right, I'm fine with Kwiatkowski in the regards of he can play up to the run. He's a decent tackler. I just worry about him in coverage.
You said that, but he had like
I don't
3
care.
picks.
I don't
he
care.
can't catch, but he's a middle linebacker.
Yep.
He was fine in pass coverage. Show me a route that he blew. I think he honestly.
Did he blow?
I think I think he's honestly going to cost more money than Trevathan.
You think he'll garner more
because of his injury and because of his performance in the 9 games that he played or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I think Kwiatkowski is one of those guys. And you talk about the 14 mil, Ricky. I think that could free up to if they cut Taylor Gabriel before the year, they free up 4.5 mil. If they cut Trey Burton, they clear up $1 million there. So I think there will be ways.
There's ways to pad a little bit on top
to at least add onto it. And if they cut Brent Broniker, there's 1.5. So I think they could probably get up comfortably to 20 mil is what I've heard.
Okay.
Actually, I can offer an interesting suggestion. What if we were to try to make more cap space by trading a couple people already on the roster? Actually.
Yeah, I mean there is potential for that. It's just who wants to pick from the bones of this Bears team at this point.
Like Sean said, it's either Prince and Gabriel, the two movable pieces.
Amukamara on a 1-year deal for 10 mil, I don't think is a killer for teams. I think he is definitely probably the most interesting trade piece that this team does have. Outside of that, I mean, Gabriel is a guy that was rumored this year to be moved. I wonder what his value is now after suffering multiple concussions.
Yeah,
that could kill his price. So then, Bears might end up just cutting him and freeing up 4.5 mil. So I think that it's definitely possible they do explore trades there. But I think if they're exploring trades, I don't think it's going out and getting a Nick Foles or Gardner Minshew like everybody's saying, or Andy Dalton, whatever the names that are floating out because of the additions they made to the offensive coaching staff. I think it's going to be trades to then free up cap space so they can extend Allen Robinson, so they can keep Nick Kwiatkowski or Danny Trevathan, so they can extend Leonard Floyd if that's something that they see to be a need. So I think those are the moves that would be made on this Bears team. I don't think it's going to be trade to get another piece. This isn't going to be finding another Khalil Mack trade out there. I think you're going to be using your trade pieces to then free up cap space to make sure you can maintain the majority of this core.
Okay. I want to toss out a hypothetical at this point.
One position too that we got to name.
Yeah.
Strong safety. Clinton Dix wasn't a bad player, wasn't a fit though. That's another position to need.
Agreed. Wish the Bama boys would have been better together, but they couldn't rekindle the old history.
They both wanted to float.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem. My hypothetical that I want to toss out there is the idea that the second round, our first pick of the second round, will be a quarterback, and that second pick will be traded back out of that position to try to get ourselves some more capital. Like it might be a combo. It might be us moving a 2 and a 5 to get a 3 and a 4, somewhere in that range of value. Like I just feel like that gap between second round talent and fifth round talent is pretty wide most years. And I know we're actually really good at finding guys later in the draft, and that's something that I want to give them credit for. But it's just a situation where I think that we might need more stabs this year. So I want to go quarterback with that first pick of the second. And then I want to move that pick back because I think we can get a couple guys because, like you said, it's not only Prince Amukamara, it's the fact that we can find younger corners in there and pay them nothing versus having to pay him for this season entirely. Like I just think that's $10 million we're not going to pay.
That first pick, I pretty much got the Bears' first pick almost lined up. And it's me, it's offensive guard. Like Solomon Kinley, who is the guard out of Georgia.
I disagree with that.
To me, he's the guy where if you're going to get a guard in this draft, right now there's 3 of them, really. There's him, there's Shane Lemieux. I'm going to say that wrong. And then Lemieux. Mutai. I'm not a hockey guy. Lemieux, and then Mutai out of Fresno State. There's really 3 that you're going to look at. And I don't know, because the Bears don't have a third or fourth, I think the Bears are going to go, well, we're going to have to get our guard in the second.
And Sam, I want to hear your thought as a Bears fan, and I know a lot of Bears fans dislike the names of Bobby Massey and Charles Leno Jr., and I think that's the bigger position of need than guard would be tackle. What do you think about the Bears' tackles and guards? I know, do you have the vitriol that some fans do against Bobby Massey and Charles Leno Jr.?
Well, Massey, I think it's like he's starting to Father Time's finally taking its toll as to how bad, like, he sort of got hurt the last month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, it's like, oh, Lord, Charles Leno's original extension seemed like max value originally because, you know, he got a lot of stuff figured out, but, oh, my God, he just regressed so bad as far as the penalties this year.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
Yeah, no, I think for me, I mean, Kyle Long's retirement, everybody's going to miss him, but his play clearly wasn't the same, and I'm glad that he recognized that for his own health, he's moving on.
Yeah.
I do think we need to address it, but I don't see any of those guys you mentioned being like lock in. Like, I'm 100% good with that pick for that value.
Yeah, well,
I can get tackles later on in this draft. I'm not concerned with that.
They can cut Leno Jr. and save $2.9 million, which I would not think. I think that is something that might explore. So I think, you know, your idea, Sam, of being out of that contract, that extension for Charles Leno, that could be up this year. But again, I look back at the tackles rather than the guards that you brought up, Ricky, because right now I think the two guys that are locked up, the two players that are locked up on this line are going to be James Daniel and Cody Whitehair. And James Daniel, before, you know, those two guys were playing center and guard, and that's where, you know, they flipped each other. So I mean, at least you have the center lockdown and the guard lockdown. So I think that they would probably likely explore than the two outside tackles, because you know, like Sam said, Leno was
one
horrible.
of those guys do the Bears feel like, hey, we can move one of those guys to tackle?
Massey to guard. But I don't think you move Whitehair to tackle. He's very versatile,
solid on the inside,
very versatile. But he's been mainly an inside guy. His main part of his career. And James Daniel was drafted as a center, and he's very athletic. He's a great pulling guard, a great pulling center. But something that I think was a big issue this year, and the reason why they moved Whitehair to center and then Daniel back to guard, was due to his lack of ability and his lack of communication that Cody Whitehair seemed to demand from the line. Where James Daniel didn't have that control over the line and at least setting protections and helping out Mitch in that regard. So I think Whitehair was at least better there, but I think you have at least the two inside slots locked down. I don't think they're moving on from Daniels. I don't think they're moving on from Whitehair. I don't hate the idea of them addressing the offensive line in their first picks. So if they want to go quarterback and line, I think they do that. But I think if you're going to go on the line, you're addressing tackle before you are guard.
See, I'm the type of guy, though, with quarterback, I don't feel like they're going to have to go in the second round.
Do you feel like there's just the level of difference between that initial group who's going one that's locked in, and then everybody else is pretty, like, that group of everybody else, there's not a big jump between guys who are going to be available from round 2 through round 5?
Well, it's just we know the top 3.
Yeah.
They're locked. Like, there's no way you're getting a Burrows. There's no way you're getting Tagovailoa.
Nope. We're from Chicago. It's Burrows.
No, I know. It's Burrow.
I say it on purpose on this podcast.
And I want to make sure that people know that we know it's also Burrow.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just like today I had lunch and I had White Castles. Not White Castle, White Castles.
You stopped at Jules, I'm sure, on the way?
I stopped at Jules on the way home. Tua, Justin Herbert, like, you know they're going to be in the first round. Interestingly, and our boy Shane O'Mac on Twitter asked me my thoughts on it. It looks like the Colts are really in love with Jordan Love, the quarterback out of Utah State. So people are assuming they're going to take him at 34 now, which is in the second round. The big question mark to me comes with the two quarterbacks of Fromm and Hurts. And Eason in there too, because like a mock draft like Tankathon has Eason before Fromm and Hurts. I like Fromm and Hurts better than I like Jacob Eason. They don't even have either Fromm or Hurts going in any of the top 3 rounds, which I think is asinine. I think that Hurts is going to go higher than most people think.
Yeah.
But the one guy I look at, and I like him for the Bears because, yes, he's a developmental project, or a developmental prospect, I should say, but he can be a guy that the Bears can say, hey, if the Mitch thing doesn't work out, we can do. And I think that maybe the Patriots take a stab on him. He seems like a guy that I think Bill Belichick will like, is Anthony Gordon from Washington State. Because he's got the arm talent. You can't teach arm talent. He's got it. The worst thing is his progressions. That you can teach. It's like, you look at all the things like Hurts, he's not that great with the, like, He's not great with his progressions, but he's got the mobility. You can't teach that mobility. Fromm is a guy, what you see is what you get, where I almost feel like if the Bears got Fromm, it would almost be like Trubisky 2.0, where it's like what you see is what you get, and
He's
people
a smarter player.
Fromm is a finished product.
Smarter
They're
player,
different.
less athletic.
I'm not saying he's going to be the same as Trubisky, but it's one of those things where people are not as hot on Fromm as they are everyone else, and I feel like the Bears can go elsewhere than Jake Fromm.
We've seen a lot of Jake Fromm in college, and I think that's what the difference is. People see his perceived upside as capped and lower than some of those other guys who, you still say, we can teach route progressions. We can teach him how to read the defense better. So I think that's the only area I kind of lean. Jake, did you, out of those quarterbacks in the... God, I said Jake. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Sam. I'm looking at Sean, and I'm thinking Sean's twin and Jake, and it hit me upside the head. Sam, out of those guys, he mentioned that second tier of quarterbacks, Hurts, who is the kid from Washington? Gordon?
Washington State.
Washington State.
And then Eason's from Washington.
Eason, Fromm. Are any of those guys your quarterback to pick in the second, third, fourth, depending on if we move back?
Well, frankly, I think with this year's quarterback class in general, I just don't think we could make a bad choice as far as, developmental backup project guys. So it's I just don't think we can make a bad choice with any of them. I mean, they all got imperfections, but the thing is, we just need to get somebody who's more cost-effective than Chase Daniel, and it's like first day of training camp, hey, Mitch, you got some competition. Let's see who wins,
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of having someone who has upside on the bench in that QB3, QB2 role because we're in a tricky situation.
To me, the only guy that competes with Mitch day one is Jalen Hurts.
We're not.
That's it.
Here's for me. I'll be honest. I'm not looking for someone to compete with Mitch day one because I'm realistic. I know they're not replacing Mitch day one.
But like what Sam said with the hey Mitch, you got some competition. Jalen Hurts is the only one I'm walking into this year's training camp saying that. Like, if you get Fromm, if you get Eason, if you get Anthony Gordon, hell, if you even get a Jordan Love, a Nate Stanley, anybody else, Mitch has got the job, and you're developing that other quarterback.
Mitch has the job this year anyway.
No.
It's written in stone.
Yes, I know.
We've been down this road.
We know that, but I feel like Jalen Hurts is the only one that if he came in and pressed in training camp, he could be the only one to dethrone Mitch if there's a possibility of dethroning Mitch coming into this year.
Ricky, I love you, but I disagree. Sean, what do you think about the idea that day one challenging Mitch? Is that even something you're thinking about?
I don't think the quarterback that they draft will challenge Mitch day one. I think it would be a veteran that they bring in. Again, I've been a big proponent of they sign a veteran, they draft a quarterback, and the veteran challenges Mitch. I think that's what happens, unless the kid they draft is just amazing. Yeah,
also, the cap
Russell
situation
Wilson's
too.
What do you mean?
Like if they use most of their cap to bring back like a Kwiatkowski or a Danny Trevathan, Kwiatkowski, and they're like, oh well, we can't now pay for that veteran that we wanted to challenge Mitch. We just have a veteran like Chase Daniels.
We're bringing back the corpse of Alex Smith.
Yes.
Well, he can't walk. Like I don't know what it is with people fascination with Alex Smith. The guy can't walk. Stop bringing up his name.
saw a video of the Pat McAfee show where they're like, could he save the Bears? I was like, is he even going to play next year?
I don't think he's ever going to play again.
Yeah,
so it seems unlikely right now, but we'll see.
My whole thing didn't play
my
after
whole
that,
thing
right?
is it's Case Keenum. It's a drafted quarterback. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a big name. Free agent. You're not going to get Cam Newton. I don't think he's a free agent either.
But you have to trade for him.
Yeah, or I don't think you're going to get Philip Rivers or Drew Brees or Tom Brady. That's not the guy you're bringing in. You're going to bring in a guy that has been a starter before.
Sean says
in the
no
league.
to Tom Brady, but he'll love it when he signs with the Bears.
He's not going to do it, though, so I'm not going to get my hopes up. But no, I mean, Case Keenum is a guy that started in the league before.
Yep.
Chase Daniel wasn't. They're going to get a guy that has started in the league before that is an upgrade over Chase Daniel. That is what you're getting. So it's not going to be a Philip Rivers where it's an upgrade over Mitch. You're not getting a Drew Brees. It's an upgrade of Mitch. You're not getting a Teddy Bridgewater, who is an upgrade over Mitch. Mm-hmm. You're getting a guy that is a lower tier that has started before, that isn't a guy that people still view as a true starter or as a guy that is a top-tier starter. You're not getting that with the Bears this year in a quarterback. You're getting a drafted quarterback, hopefully in the second round, and then you're getting a veteran quarterback that has started before.
Yeah, and I mean, dream situation.
Could be Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Never going to happen.
Could be Marcus Mariota. Could be Jameis Winston.
If we could pull off a Seahawks situation.
You draft 2 this year?
Seahawks, I meant the Russell Wilson situation where he gets drafted in the third. They went out and they spent money in the free,
I was thinking
free
Redskins
agency.
where they drafted too.
Yeah, no, I'm not drafting two. I don't have the value to do that this year.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking like, we take a quarterback a little, not first round, a little bit later in the draft, and yes, we might pay someone for agency, but if he plays up, he could challenge for that role.
You know who's that guy?
I just think it's unrealistic.
You know who's that guy?
Who could blow the socks off?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Think about it. Same thing. Started at one school, went to another school, probably going to go in the third round. Where did Russell Wilson go? Third round.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts is your Russell Wilson. Not saying he's going to be like
anywhere close to as good as Russell Wilson.
He could. He's got the talent. He's got the potential, I think.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for that storyline, Jalen Hurts. That's him in a
Jalen Hurts has been my pick for Ricky.
How long?
How long?
Love Jalen Hurts.
How long have I been on the Jalen Hurts train?
A while.
Yeah, a while.
A while.
So,
little Bama boy.
Sam, I want to pull you back in and drop this final nugget to you of if we did take a Jalen Hurts, do you think that he is someone who could step into this offense, because Mitch is known for not playing a whole season, could step into this offense and play this season?
Well, let me offer a further hypothetical. Let's say we get Hurts whatever round.
Yeah.
But we also get Case Keenum as the free agent backup.
Right. That was Sean's situation.
Hypothetically. Okay, so those two plus Mitch duke it out. By the end of preseason, who are you guys calling as 1 through 3 as far as starter and backup? You think?
Well, if that's a scenario, I don't think Case Keenum's going to beat out Mitch Trubisky, or I don't think they'll let him. I don't think they're going to try to kill Mitch Trubisky's confidence. So I think it would be Mitch, Keenum, and then the drafted QB, and then they see what Keenum can give them. And then, if they get to a spot where, hey, we're looking like it's going to be a very bad season, we're not going to make the playoffs, then I think they throw the kid in. But I think it's going to be a progression of when Mitch loses the job is lost. So that's where I think it's going to be. I don't think he's ever going to lose the job coming into the season. I think we'll see Mitch be the starter. Then, by week 6, if this team's, 4-2, but the offense isn't getting a kick in the ass, and Mitch is playing horrible. It's just the defense carrying him. I think they make a switch then. That's possible. And then, by week 13, if this team's still struggling, then you pull Keenum. You see what the kid's got, the kid that you just drafted.
Yeah. One of the coolest things about drafting young talent at quarterback is the way the preseason has evolved. I want to just toss this out there because we are seeing more draft picks and guys who are on that fringe roster getting a ton of playing time in the preseason. I would be super excited to see someone take the reins for a couple of games with this Bears offense. And I know it's mostly vanilla playbook, but still, it's the can they make plays? What kind of impression can they make? Because one of the most popular guys in Chicago is always the backup quarterback. And I think it would be easy to get behind one of these young kids after a couple of games of preseason. And I think we're all hoping that Mitch is either better than we all expected, or so bad that he is removed from the position before week 8. I think that's a best case scenario for the Chicago Bears team because we're just sick of it and we want to move on, and that's sort of the way I feel. So as far as my rankings, as far as what we need to address this offseason, I'm personally thinking QB, tight end, and then a corner. Those are the 3 big hits. I like linebacker, but I don't have anyone targeted specifically yet.
Well, that's the thing is the linebacker is on roster. It's just which one they bring back.
Right.
So it's less of an off-season need. You just need to extend them.
Fair. Sam, what are your final thoughts? Because I like tight end as an idea, but I just feel like we have to get somebody established, and it's going to cost a little bit of money versus drafting someone because, like you said, this Matt Nagy offense, the one at least he had the most success with, was predicated on the fact that they had a great pass-catching tight end and a true threat at wide receiver. What are your positional rankings as far as this offseason addressing it?
I think we should just do a full blitzkrieg. Let's just go all offense. Reinforce the line, tight end, backup quarterback. We'll plug in some holes on the defensive end for a couple other guys. But defense has been pretty solid. I mean, people keep trying to harp like Chuck Pagano did a crap succession job, but you know what? Given the amount of injuries he's had to deal with and some of these guys who are just from the practice squad, I mean, hell, crap, he made Nick Williams look like a freaking Pro Bowler this year, right?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean, he did get some good performances out of guys. Sean, I'm going to toss it to you. Your final ranking for Bears offseason targets.
Quarterback, tackle, and then cornerback. So quarter, tackle, corner. I think those are probably the biggest ones. Tight end I think it will be addressed, but I don't think they're going to address it in a large way.
Okay.
So I don't think we're going to see.
You think it's just going to be a hope for another guy?
You'll see a draft pick, and then I think they'll probably look at what Horsted could bring. I think they'll probably kick the tires again on Burton, and I think we're probably going to see another lackluster tight end grouping. But I think they're going to address quarterback, tackle, and then cornerback.
Corner. And I'm gonna end it on the not so Bears fan Ricky here. From an outside perspective, what do you see our perceived weaknesses as, and what do we need to address?
Offensive guard. I'm gonna go guard over tackle. Gonna go cornerback, linebacker, and then quarterback at 4. I think quarterback's going to happen, but it's not gonna be like, oh my God, we need to have it. Like, it's a perceived need.
Yes,
but it's not pushing to the front.
It's not screaming. You think the Bears are trying to hold out for that next year draft class of quarterbacks?
I actually heard a theory that the Bears are gonna, like, if Mitch plays so bad in the first part of the season, like, let's say they draft Anthony Gordon and Mitch is terrible week 1, week 2, putting a guy like Gordon in and just tanking for Trevor Lawrence. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears go 0-3 or something like that, if Chicago just becomes tank for Lawrence. Because the kid's only lost 1 college game.
They're not going to be that bad.
I'm just saying. Burrows.
Sam, I want to end it with you, Sam, as our patron. I want you to have the last say on this one. Are you having any of the tank for Trevor game, or do you think that we're going to get our guy this year?
Nope. We just got to reload and run it back because our window is not getting any much wider at this point. So it's like time's ticking and people need to save their jobs at this rate. If not, a lot of heads are going to roll by next winter.
Yeah.
A lot of heads.
No, I mean, it's true. We've got so much tied up in this current defense as it currently stands that I don't know if our window can afford going with, an entire tanking season. Players might get unhappy. You might have to move on from some more pieces. We're already pretty far down that list of money available in free agency. It's going to be hard to compete going forward as we have to pay out more and more. That's where I want to wrap things up. Sam, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you so much for being a patron. If you want to be like Sam, if you want to be like any of the other people we have listed here, they've been awesome. They keep us happy. They keep us supported. They keep the lights on, as Sean showed earlier. Check us out on patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. This has been Super Fans. That's Ricky Widmer. That's Sean Anderson. I've been Dave Oster. We'll catch you next time.